Hey guys, it's Jacqueline here at Homeschool Hangout XYZ, and today we are looking at tablet class math, specifically the geometry class. If you like these kinds of subject reviews, tools, online classes, in person, well, maybe not in person classes, but book class reviews, do me a favor, like this video, comment, subscribe, all the things, and let's get into it. Before I jump in, I feel it's only appropriate to take a sip out of my I Teach Math, What's Your Superpower mug. My 19-year-old gave it to me. Of course, it's got the Pythagorean theorem on it, but we could get into that later. So up front, I want to say I received this complimentary product as part of the Homeschool Review Crew. So it was given to me to evaluate, but all opinions, as usual, and thoughts are mine and mine alone. So what is Tablet Class Math? It is an online math portal where they teach specific math classes going from pre-algebra all the way to pre-calculus. You purchase it by the class and by the access. And what I mean by that is they have rates. And if anybody ever wonders, I have my monitor right here so I can look at the details and not, lie to you. You purchase access to specific classes for your student. So you can do a monthly subscription, a 6-month access, a full year access. And those range between the monthly is $25, the 6-month is $95, and the 1-year access is $150. That is not to all of their classes. That is only to the one you are choosing. And then separately, you can get access to the parent/administrative resources for $25. But that access is unlimited. It's a one-time fee. So if you purchase this class for multiple years or whatever, you don't have to repurchase the parents. So, like I said, there's a parent resources side and a child side. It is structured in such a way in which you watch the lecture. Then there are PDF worksheets that have examples on them and the answers, both. So it's like it'll be like the first one's like a 4-page PDF and the first 2 pages are problems and the second 2 pages are the answers. And then there's also videos that goes through every one of those problems. And there isn't, and this is my own concern, there isn't any extra problems that they don't originally get the answers for. Not that I think should never give kids the answers in math. I'm a math nerd. We all have answers. But I do think it's nice to have those a little more separated, meaning here's the problems, do the problems. Now, here are the answers. So you're not tempted to give up too soon. Frankly, that's really why. It's not a cheating issue. It's a so you don't give up too soon issue. So you only have a few problems for each section, so it's not overwhelming. So that part is good. And you go through your whole chapter. Then there are some extra practice problems at the end. Same format, though. Your problems, and then you're followed by your problems and the answers with the answers in the same PDF. There's notes, then there's a quiz, and then you start the whole game over. There's also, though, and this is where the parent side comes in, there's also tests and a lot of detailed record keeping if you need or want that based on your state. Here in California, I don't have to keep specific records to prove that we did it, but the parent side has all of that you would need. It has the tests, the instructions for the test, and then the key. I believe it's really structured so that you as the parent grade the test. They have a guidebook where you go through each section, and this is in the $25 parent section, and say like how well they understood it, did they do all the work, and just kind of like a grade book, so to speak. They call it a guidebook, but really it's kind of a grade book that you would keep if you are keeping work to show somebody. That parent side has all of the tests that you'll need, all of the test instructions, the test keys, including the final, and there's even a course completion certificate that you can do for your student. Personally, I just never really tested my kids, but given the limited problems that are available, I might want to have tested them just to make sure, or I would get an outside source for testing. So that's kind of the thing. In California, you don't have to show certain things, but in math, I do like blind evaluation problems. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's not even testing. It's not that they wouldn't get to fix it or learn how to do the problem, but it's the idea of if you have no hope of looking at the answer and no one to help you, how do you do? And I do have to say that for me is a little bit of an education model, because I had those children who, when they learned how to read, if they knew you were there to answer questions, they wouldn't guess or try or push. And so you didn't get to see where their gut was leading, if it was leading in the right direction or not, unless you refused to help. So, but at the same time, I don't believe in test grades. So, I'm a contradiction. The student side is pretty straightforward. This is kind of a no frills kind of situation. It's not stark, but it doesn't have too many flourishes, which I kind of like. Things can get lost in the flourishes. The videos for the lectures are straightforward. Now I have to say, I love geometry. Geometry, after a very hard year in algebra in junior high, of where I wasn't sure I could ever do math again, geometry was my breath of fresh air. I find him pretty interesting. He's not as interesting as my 8th grade geometry teacher, but, Donna Williams is not easily replaced. But in comparison to a lot of the math classes I have evaluated, wow, that sounds kind of catty and harsh, but he's decently interesting. I do have to say, it did not help. My first interaction with him was looking at his public YouTube channel, and he had Understand Calculus in 10 minutes, and it was a 21-minute video. So that irony wasn't lost on me. But yeah, it seems like a quality class. I only evaluated geometry, so I haven't looked at anything else. It's pretty straightforward. I do like he breaks down different, I'm looking here, I want to give a good example. Just with chapter 1, he breaks down different concepts into manageable bites, and I like that. The points, lines, planes lessons, he breaks that down into one thing, and his lectures seem to only be I'm going to just make sure I'm not losing my mind. The ones I was looking at were 15 minutes. So they're not overly onerous. It looks like, based on the parent reading I was doing, you're looking at somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half every day that they work on math, which that hour and a half is, in theory, if they are doing the accelerated version and you're looking at a 6-month class. I didn't find it overly onerous, which for me, when you start getting to some of the more advanced maths, that's where you lose students. It's not even that the material is so much harder. It's that you want to give them so much at one time that they can't digest it. So I like how he's done that. Lots of examples with pieces. So he kind of almost breaks his examples into sets. So he starts off, he'll have 3 sets of examples, but he'll have 6 small problems that all do it. I went straight to his more logical side of it, and I was looking at some of his proof stuff because I'm the crazy person who loved geometry proofs. My husband and I just had this conversation because doesn't everyone discuss geometry proofs in their marriage? And once again, Donna Williams, awesome. She would limit the proofs based on all the theorems that she would give us, but she gave us a methodology and a logic, and he seems to be kind of following in a very logical pattern, whereas his teacher didn't do that. So, the methodology of proofs and logic for me is very important because it's kind of like a checklist, and I love a good checklist, as anybody who knows me knows. But yeah, on the whole, I think it was a very good course. If you like an online video course instead of more reading, this is for you. If you want more homework, you could always pair this with a Khan Academy to give them more just hands-on experience with it, if that's something your student needs. But if you have, I will be honest, an accelerated student who you just want to make sure they're catching all of the details, this is really, really great. And if you have a student who isn't a math nut like some of mine are, it's still really good. I like that he goes through. I like that he's very logical. The only part in this is there isn't a interactive question for him, which not a lot of these programs have that, but a student who might be hitting a wall a little bit might come to you with some more questions. But there are so many resources out there if you're not a math person that you can get help from. So yeah, I like it. It's a little expensive, but not really. It's expensive if you compare it to just a book. And even then, it's a lot of them that I'm seeing are all in the $100 range anyways, and they don't have video lessons. So it's a good value. I liked it. I would recommend it. The parent section, like I said, has your tests and your completion certificates and everything you need for record keeping, depending on what your state requires. So yeah, head over to the link in the bottom for going over to the Homeschool Review Crew, because other people reviewed other classes. And of course, come at it from a different viewpoint. So it's always nice to see, especially if you're wondering how the pre-algebra class was or the, Algebra 2 class. Go pop over and see what they think. Also, there's a link to Tablet Class Math down below if you want to go over and check out their products. They have some example pages. They have some example videos. I believe they even have some diagnostic tests if you want to kind of see where your student's at. They do have scope and sequence, at least with the pre-algebra. I was looking at that. Check it all out. Let me know what subject you're looking for curriculum on down in the comments, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.